What's going on, Wolves? Welcome back to another episode of the Wake Up with the Wolf podcast. I'm excited. And the reason why is because I had a little bit of an enlightenment moment yesterday. Something dawned on me, and that was the fact that I'm currently living in my dream. So today, during this episode on YouTube, the podcast, wherever you are currently listening to me, I hopefully want to give you a little bit of insight, some advice, so you could transform your life and live the life of your dreams like I currently am as well. So when it came down to me having this moment, it was actually a mix between a conversation I had 6 months ago and a revelation I had yesterday when we got home from our vacation and I looked at the calendar that was up on my wall. You see, as you guys know, I absolutely love boxing. All right. It is one of my biggest passions, one of my biggest hobbies. I absolutely love it. It gives me a little bit of therapy because I get to punch people in the face and I get punched in the face. So it calms my nerves down and centers me. And it also really challenges my body and mind. So I feel absolutely exhausted, physically and mentally exhausted afterwards, which if you guys know anything about physical exhaustion and mental exhaustion when it comes down to improving your goals mentally, physically, and emotionally, it just pushes me to be better on a daily basis. And after my last fight, which was a year ago, almost to the month, by the way, November 24th, a year ago, I did my first amateur boxing fight. Smoked him. We're not going to talk too much about that because the goal of this podcast and episode isn't to make fun of said person. It's just to let y'all know the truth. Smoked him, had an absolute blast, was incredibly proud of myself. And then when I was asked about what my goals were from my coach and from individuals I knew, I was like, my goal is to get my golden gloves, which has actually been a goal ever since I was a kid. And then I figured out what it actually took to get my golden gloves. Now, pause. You guys might hear that and you're like, oh, so you gave up. Oh, so you don't want to do it. Well, that's a little bit of a harder conversation. And that's where the revelation, all right, the quote unquote enlightenment moment actually came. Because you see, you need to have, if I'm not mistaken, because I've heard a couple different things, 10 amateur fights to even qualify for the tournaments that you need to join in order to get your golden gloves. And I'm super game for that. All right. I can go do 6-7 rounds of sparring right now. But when it came down to the commitment each individual fight took versus my actual schedule, I had a moment of clarity that I needed to look at personally. And I would like to share with you guys. You see, the reason why I titled this podcast Life-Changing Advice to Transform Your Life is because you need to learn how to take a step back from time to time and look at the life that you have currently created and ask yourself, is this what I always asked for? Because that's what I did. When I got asked about my boxing quote unquote career, it's not a fucking career, but that's what I'm going to define it as just for the sake of this story. And I looked at all the fights that I want to set up for the future. I had a hard decision this year in 2024, and that was either remove all of this traveling and scheduling I already had booked in my calendar, or do what I wanted to do and live in my dream life. Guys, growing up, I always said I eventually want to be able to travel the world with my family with zero restrictions, going anywhere I want, whenever I want, buying whatever I want while working on the go. And this year, when I was faced with that choice, do you want to fight again? I pulled up my calendar and was like, no, I don't. And it's not because I don't love getting in the ring. Behind this camera that I'm recording this episode on right now are 5 massive paintings, all to do with boxing, because boxing has an incredible passion in my heart. It will have a part of me forever. But I had to look at what was more important to me, living in my dream that I set when I was a kid, or casting all that aside just to chase a little hobby for a year when I could just do it in 2025 or 2026 or 2027, because it's not going anywhere. I'm not trying to become a professional fighter. I'm not trying to become the next Canelo and make hundreds of millions of dollars like a Jake Paul just bursting into the scene. I just like the sport. And I would like to hit a certain level, like a bronze glove, silver gloves, or golden gloves for me and nobody else. So when I came home yesterday from the vacation, I actually want to share this text with you because I looked at my entire calendar, added up all the days, and because your boy ain't that good at math, I asked ChatGPT to give me a layup. And I asked ChatGPT, yo, I've been out of the country for 116 days so far this year. How many days have I been gone versus in the country? ChatGPT took a second and said, so far in 2024, Cole, you've been out of the country for 116 days and in the country for 153 days. So now I know I've actually almost been out of the country 50% of the year this year. Every time I've come back, I've had around 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of downtime at home before I fly out again. Bali, Australia, multiple places in the United States, Pico, Portugal. I'm living in my dream. The reason why this podcast is titled Life-Changing Advice, all right? Life-changing advice to transform your life is because I want you to take a step back and ask yourself, am I currently living in the dream life I always wanted? Yes or no? If you are not living your dream life, go out and experiment. Try a load of different things that light up that passion you had in your soul when you were a kid and find what you actually want to do with your life. And if you are living your dream life, take a minute to appreciate it and smell the roses. I get the burning desire to always want to chase new things. I get the burning desire to want to improve mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. I'm incredibly driven by that. However, I'm not going to lie. I've been in like this euphoric moment for the last 24 hours with a massive smile on my face because when I looked at that calendar, getting home after 6 weeks out of the country and seeing that I've actually been gone out of the country with my family, traveling around the world, buying whatever the fuck I wanted, not being restricted by anybody, being free. I am living in my dream. So yeah, I could have taken another boxing fight and I could have altered some travels and I could have complained that I didn't have the time and I could have bitched that I was frustrated that things didn't line up properly, or I could just be grateful for what I'm currently fucking doing. Some of you guys might not get any value from this episode, but I wanted to share this with you because a lot of us forget to appreciate the life we have created on the path to creating the life we want. When I was a kid, I talked about everything I currently have. One day I want to drive an Audi R8. There's one in my garage. One day I would love to drive a G-Wagon. There's one in my garage. One day I would like a Harley. There's one in my garage. One day I want a big house with a pool. I'm in it right now. Oh, and a movie theater. Yup, check that off the box as well. I want to be able to retire my wife and then give her everything she's ever wanted. Done. I want a beautiful family. Check. I want to be able to travel the world with zero restrictions, 100% of my dime, being able to give my family whatever they want, including first class travel, expensive and nice hotels, whatever. Check. I want to make millions of dollars. Check. I want to inspire millions. Check. I've done everything I've ever wanted. I buy what I want when I want. I got a $20,000 watch on my wrist right now just for the hell of it. And I'm not saying that you guys should do this stuff and spend your money dumb. I'm not saying you should waste your cash, but I have reached a point in my life where I get to live on my own terms. My family's set up. My clients are cared for. I'm inspiring and transforming thousands of lives every day, and I get to do what I wanted to do as a kid. I just share the boxing story with you because, again, I feel like all of us are continuously looking for the next thing. What is the next thing we're going to chase? What is the next thing that we're going to go towards? What is the next thing we want to do? What is the next thing that we would like to achieve when we are not looking at what we already did achieve? The life-changing advice to help you transform your life today is to look at where you are right now. Where are your feet? Are they in the shoes you always wanted to wear? Yes? Then pat yourself on the back and be proud of you. No? Then get out and start experimenting. Commit to 9 boxing fights this year because you can and you have a future in it. Commit to traveling the world a little bit and pushing yourself out of your boundary. Commit to going and doing 5 new job interviews that are in the passionate hobby side of your life, not the making money side of your life. I am only 30 years old and every goal I've ever set for myself has been achieved so far. I've got some big ones in the future, but I wanted to share that euphoria moment with you guys, that enlightenment moment with you guys, because when I didn't take on another boxing fight this year, there was an instant part of me that felt shame, that felt discouraged, that felt annoyed with self, because I'm like, mother, do you have a goal that you want to tick off the box? What are you not doing? You could come back with 2 weeks notice, get in the ring and fight somebody and win. But also, is that just the driven, cocky side of me? Or is that actually what I wanted? At the time, it was not what I wanted. And I'm very, 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 very happy that I chose to say no. Because instead of coming back for 2 weeks and not hanging out with my family and not enjoying the quote unquote time home in this moment of gratitude, all right, I chose to just focus on me and mine this year so far. And it's crazy to me that we're about to go into October, the end length of 2024. That's crazy to me. But I am so internally grateful for the first months of this year, how 2024 has gone so far, because everything has aligned exactly how I planned for it to align, which is a very weird thing to say, because if you would have asked me where I would be in 3 years ago, I wouldn't say here because I didn't know I would be here. I just knew what I wanted to achieve. And when I cast away the timeline, timeline. And I just embraced an obsessed, relentless mindset towards achieving my goals, paired up with patience, removing the timeline from my mind and just getting things done every day, regardless of how I felt. This life was created. Step into the shoes you were meant to wear and get out of your own way. Subscribe, like, share. Peace.